Welcome to a video exploring the LEGO Star Wars set released in January 2022, the HOTH ATST. I'm going to basically look at the features, the design, tell you if I think this guy is worth buying, to be frank. This thing came with 3 classically defined minifigures, the Rebel Trooper, the ATST driver, and the HOTH version of Chewbacca. So let's take a look at those guys right now. Perhaps the odd inclusion was the HOTH Rebel Trooper here. As you can see, she's a pretty good looking figure. She's got a regular blaster, a nice print, 2 faces on her. I have her angry face on right now, but she's also got more of a smiley face. I didn't think this one was really appropriate for battle, so I went with the angry face for display. But she's got both. This is more of one that is scared of this ATST that's coming for her, and Echo Base. Pretty good figure. No leg printing, kind of a classic looking Hoth Rebel torso. Same helmet and backpack from way back in 2010-ish, I think. Next we have a great figure here. This is Chewbacca, but it's the Hoth version, and you can tell by the little flecks of snow on his print, which I'm going to be honest, I did not even notice at first. It's kind of subtle. I'm obviously trying to highlight it here, but not a bad looking Chewbacca here. He's got the stud shooter bowcaster, maybe the one logical weapon to actually have a stud shooter, since it, still looks pretty decent. And regular dark brown torso. Got some nice leg print, and he looks really nice. I love the little bits of snow on him. One cold Wookiee, although I guess he's more well-suited to Hoth than any of the other rebels. Unfortunately, the only one representing the Imperial side is this ATST driver, and I think he looks just fantastic. He's got kind of a throwback face there. They've been using a similar one, if not the same one, for a really long time. He's got a pretty nicely detailed torso, and his hip printing fits with the torso just really well. And then on down to the leg print. He's got some goggles printed on his helmet. I just think he looks outrageously good. Maybe the highlight, the Chewbacca is very good as well. The one thing that I think this set was missing is perhaps a regular snow trooper. I think it's kind of odd that the Rebels outnumber the Imperials in this set. We do have a snow trooper battle pack currently out at the same time. I think it also was a January 2022 set. So that's probably why, but I still don't like it. I wish we could have gotten one more figure for a $50 set. 3 minifigures is okay, but I would have liked to see a snow trooper. Now, some may consider this to be sort of a 4th figure, and it is indeed sort of a 4th figure, I would say. Whether or not droids are minifigures is kind of a recurring question, but it's a really nice looking Imperial probe droid. He's got all sorts of different end-of-arm accessories, rendered in dark bluish gray for the most part. And he's got lots of eyeballs and sensors and antennae. And he's a good size, too. Bigger than the minifigures for sure, but something that would be scary and imposing. I've always liked how alien-looking the probe droid has been. But he's hovering courtesy of this clear antenna piece on this little patch of snow that's provided in this cut plate. So I like him a lot. Really good build to include with the Hoth ATST. Really adds something to this set, if you ask me. But now for the ATST itself. And as you can see with me constantly adjusting the zoom, this is a pretty tall boy. I'm not really sure how it compares to any of the other ATSTs in the past, because I've actually never had one before this guy. But I will say, he looks really nice. He looks really nice indeed. I think if we're talking about the design, it's impossible not to want to highlight the feet, which are just incredible. I mean, the amount of pieces used to make just the feet is something that might surprise you, but it looks great. It's so detailed. Each one is pretty much the same, but I mean, yeah, just look at those feet. So many added pieces just to make them look mechanical, like those little droid bodies on the top there. Really, really good looking feet, which, considering with the ATTE, that's also a 2022 set, they've really been upping their walker feet over at Lego. Gotta give them props for that. Moving up on the model, the legs are where I don't love this. The Technic is very exposed, and I'm not really sure why they didn't decide to cover this with more plates or tiles. This is really the worst looking part of the set, in my opinion. I think many people will be able to look past it, and I can honestly look past it too for the most part. It's not terrible, and you're honestly not going to be looking at the legs very much. I do like these little mechanism guys on the back here. Those are cool. That make it look like they should be able to move. They can't. But that's okay. And this upper leg is nicely detailed out with the tiles and plates and wedges and such. So not sure why they couldn't do it for the lower leg. But that's going to be the same on both sides. And if we kind of take a look at the head, I'm going to have to go free camera here. Just because this guy is a little too tall to capture in frame. We need a bird's eye view on this. So I think the one thing I don't love about the head here is the rectangular shape of this top panel. It's just a little too wide in the front and too skinny in the back, just leading to some gaps and some, well, it's not really too wide in the front. It's just too thin in the back, unfortunately, leaving those little gaps, which aren't really accurate. We've got the eyes kind of covered up. I guess it's winter in Hoth, so you won't want to let the cold in. The cannons here, up and down. Plenty of motion, very smooth. We've got some weapons on the side as well, which look, I think, really great. And this is one of the unique things about the HOTH ATST. I don't know what that is, like some kind of sensor or a cannon, but it's a cool little detail. Now, the whole thing is going to spin the entire head, and I'm reaching behind it because there is a knob with some technical linkages, technical mechanisms that allow it to turn the head, and I'll show you what the knob looks like. It's pretty knob-like, if I had to say. But it works very, very well, and I think you can actually go all the way around if you don't hit your fingers on it. We've also got these nice little fans back here, maybe exhaust or something. Those are printed. Very nice. Because that would have been a painful sticker to put on. It's one of those tiles with the holes in it, interestingly. The back is not too much to write home about, but it honestly looks pretty good. These are mechanisms for spring-loaded shooters. You would just push on it, and the spring-loaded shooter would pop out, and they'd be located right here, although I always choose to display without them. They can be a nice, fun feature, but not really for me. I think I would just lose them, and I don't think my cat would do well ingesting one of those. No spring-loaded shooters for me personally, but these ones are not really too intrusive since they're kind of just contained. You're not even really going to notice them, just a little bit. If we look at the head of the walker, the top panel is nicely detailed, and it is separate from the hatch, so this can actually open on its own, revealing the full interior. But if you want more of a, this is more for display, this hatch. It's not really for access because that's a pretty small opening for your fingers, but that's why the whole panel pops open, and it does so very nicely, very smoothly. No real issues there. You can kind of get a look inside. Just going to be a room for your ATST driver. You can see these two clips here. Those are for his pistol and binoculars, color-coded. And I'm going to be honest, they're pretty difficult to put in there because the gap is not very large for a human finger, at least for an adult finger. So there is a control panel in there. There we go. There's a control panel in there for him. And he can sit in there pretty nicely. He just kind of fits. And then we pop this guy shut. You can also kind of perch him with the hatch open, but it's really not meant for it, I would say. You kind of have to pose his legs a little bit in order to hook him on here, and his arms will support him. As you can see, it's kind of tough to do. Let's see if I can even get him to stay. Wow. It does work, trust me, but you just kind of got to fiddle with it. And, you know, I'm not going to anymore, but there was an attempt. I kind of like having the look with the hatch open and him sitting perched out of it. Not the easiest thing to do, not an intended feature for sure, unfortunately. Okay, other features of this thing. We have a little bit of articulation in the legs, only at one joint. That being this joint right here with my ring finger. I'm going to keep a hold of this guy because he's not going to stand up really in any other orientation. I think you can maybe go one click for both of the legs to have kind of a different angle, but that's going to be about it. Now, the one good thing about these legs is they're very stable. This guy will wobble quite a bit and not fall over. Really wobbling this guy, he's not going to fall over easily, which is cool, especially for such a top-heavy set. But anyways, this is the Hoth ATST, in my opinion, worth a buy, maybe even at $50, although I got this at Walmart for $40. It's been at Walmart for $40 quite a bit, so keep a lookout for that. But I do recommend buying this set. That's all for today. I will see you guys next time.